talking recruiting on today's Ohio State football report. Before we dive into that, how many 5-stars do you think Ohio State ends up with in the 2026 cycle? Currently, it's 2. How many more will they get? Let me know in the comments of today's show. Let's begin with one of the bigger names. A lot of 5-star talk, by the way, on today's show. Always a good thing for Ohio State. Xavier Griffin had, by all accounts, a strong visit with Ohio State, and the Buckeyes very much appear to be in the mix for the former USC commit. Here's what Griffin told On3. We had a great time. A lot of love was shown to me and my family for the time we got to the airport, to arriving on campus, the time we departed. Since they are one of the four schools I'm considering for my decision, they remain at the top. After visiting them, they gave me a lot to think about, and I'm still excited about them. These are the top 4 schools. Not in any order, by the way. Florida State, Ohio State, Alabama, and Texas. There's been some buzz that Bama's been viewed as the favorite here, but Texas and Ohio State at least think they got a shot to land this one. FSU kind of feels like in 4th out of the 4, but the top 3 maybe up for grabs there. He's now completed the Ohio State visit. Alabama coming up this weekend on June 6th, then Texas on the 23rd or on the 13th, and Florida State on June 15th. Griffin right now is a 5-star recruit in the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. He is number 27 overall, number 2 among off-ball linebackers, and the number 4 ranked player in the state of Georgia. His family had some positive praise for the Ohio State visit. Bama still feels like the favorite here, but OSU, Texas also lurking. Of note, what happens sometimes is, hey, coming off a great visit, you feel good about it. And then other schools get visits, and those also go super well. And maybe you feel like you gained some ground, and it all kind of goes away. I still think Bama's the favorite, but maybe OSU's got a better shot than I'd given them credit for previously. So predictions. Will Ohio State end up landing Xavier Griffin? Y for yes, N for no. This is one of the big comments on today's show, so go let me know. Y for yes, N for no in the comments of today's video. We'll stick with 5 stars. Offensive tackle, Felix Ojo. He visited the Buckeyes. Part of a big recruiting weekend. You kind of get that around this time of the year with official visits coming in, so we'll have a lot of recruiting updates here. Buckeyes in the mix is maybe how I would frame this one. Here's what Felix Ojo said about his visit to the Buckeyes. The family atmosphere and how the program is deeply centered in faith, like what he liked about it. Also, the offensive scheme fits and resembles my play style a lot. Overall, it was a great visit. They made me feel important, and they made it know that I'm their top offensive line priority. They are very high for me. The overall culture and relationships I have built are the things I like most about Ohio State. Sometimes it feels like texts they send to the recruiting insiders, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. Ojo right now is the number 1 ranked player in the state of Texas. Hails from Mansfield, Texas, by the way. Number 2 ranked offensive tackle. Number 7 overall. Obviously is a 5-star as well. He's taken a lot of visits. You've changed the rules. You now kind of allow them to go unlimited, not just the 5 used to be limited to. He has already completed visits to Ole Miss, to Texas Tech, to Florida, to Ohio State now. Michigan, Texas, and Oklahoma are the next 3 coming up over the next parts of June there. And then, in theory, a decision comes not too long after that. So I'm not going to say OSU is out of the mix. I do think Texas is the top team here to beat for Ojo, and I think it'd be challenging to be able to secure him and with a lot of buzz in favor of Texas there, a later visit too. So my gut tells me Texas, but it is possible. And it's Ohio State. Can never rule them out of a big-time recruit. You can get the Ohio State National Championship hat by going to chatsports.com/OSU hat. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's chatsports.com/OSU hat. Celebrate that national championship with some nice swag. All right, let's go to the defensive side. And we're talking about pass rushers here. And there's 2 top 75 recruits in the 24/7 Sports composite that OSU is after. Luke Waffle and Jake Krull. I think that's how those are pronounced. If not, I'm terribly sorry. After the visit for Waffle in particular, it does sound like the Buckeyes are the favorites here. Kind of already wearing an Ohio State coded jersey, by the way. Like, everyone else notice that? Like, is it just me? He is from New Jersey. He's the number 1 ranked player in the state. He is a 4-star. I think the On3 specific recruiting rankings have him as a 5-star, but we use 24/7 Sports Composite. He's the number 6 ranked edge. Again, top 55 recruit, a 4-star in the class of 2026. He's not done with his visits yet either. Already took one to Florida and Ohio State now. Penn State's coming up on June 6th. That could be one to really monitor there. USC, who apparently gave a ridiculous bag to Mark Bowman, the tight end, which was interesting for a tight end. And then Texas, by the way, as well. His parents gave some good quotes on On3 saying how much they like the visit in particular. So will Ohio State end up landing Luke Waffle? Then we'll check in more on Jake Krull. I do think so here. I've kind of been not as sold on the first two guys. I do think this ends up being a Buckeye. A for yes, B for no. Let me know in the comments of today's video. Let's go to Jake Krull. OSU is in the mix here. I think this one, based on a lot of the reporting from the recruiting experts and insiders and sources, all indicate more of an open battle right now. Here's what Jake Krull had to say on the Ohio State visit. The weekend was absolutely awesome. A lot of great energy. Their staff really communicated the OSU standard, and this to be the best in the world for everything that they do. Then I got to spend a lot of time with Coach Patricia, Coach Johnson. Amazing experience. Coach Johnson is the GOAT at producing NFL defensive linemen. Coach Patricia has multiple Super Bowls. Hard not seeing yourself getting developed here. OSU has always been very high on my board. Their consistency of putting defensive linemen into the NFL has always stood out to me. So I think more of an open battle, but I do think OSU is very much in the running here, even maybe more so than some of the previous 5-stars we mentioned. Colorado visit has been completed. Florida is coming up next. Texas and Oklahoma. Of note, maybe keep an eye on Florida here. And I think Oklahoma too, by the way. He is from the state of Florida. Jake Krull is the number 3 ranked player in the state. He's number 31 overall. So one of the first, non-5-star recruits in the top rankings from the 24/7 Sports Composite. Number 4 ranked edge, by the way. We are locked into a sub-battle in the month of June. We're getting a slight delay because Bama got to do a video on the 2nd, and we did not. So hit that sub button, youtube.com/GoBucks. Let's see if we can't take down producer Chris over there in the Alabama football report in the month of June. Number 1 running back is Savion. I don't know if it's Hiter or Hiter. I think Hiter sounds cooler, so that's what I'm going to go with there, Hiter. He had a visit to a house this weekend. This one also, again, sounds like it went pretty well. I do want to go on a little tangent rant here. Because On3 is reporting, hey, OSU's got a chance, but it might be biggest NIL offer wins here. Which, okay, sure. Also, I don't want this to start to become the OSU was going to beat out insert SEC program, but they came through with a bag on the side. Which I saw a lot of excuses from various Team Up North recruiting sites way back when of. Went great, but $EC came through. I don't want this to start becoming the excuse. You're Ohio State. You can match any bag you want to, frankly. If you don't want to, okay. But, I don't want this to start becoming the excuse of OSU got, or insert team here, works for everybody, got every recruit that they wanted except for the ones that, got a bigger bag. And OSU never offered the biggest bag. It was they came for the right reasons. I don't want that to start being the excuses that pop up over and over again. So I do want to acknowledge that. With that said, he'd be good to get. 5-star recruit, number 17 overall in the country. He is the number 1 ranked player in the state of Virginia. So you're going to maybe not regular football power. It's not that Virginia's got bad football, but it's not like it's Wyoming. Sorry, not sorry. But not your Floridas, your Texases, your Californias, etc. Big-time recruit would be a big get for Ohio State. The Buckeyes did get the first visit for Savion Hiter. Georgia coming up on June 6th. That team up north coming up on June 13th. And then I would keep an eye out for Tennessee, especially if that NIL stuff is to be believed that Tennessee can throw around some money there on June 20th. So no Virginia schools, unfortunately, for the top ranked, maybe not unfortunately, but for the top ranked Virginia recruit.